How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the first Master Study draw stream of drum roll. Drum roll. Where's my drum roll? Drum roll. Barry Windsor-Smith won in the poll by a good margin. I think we had it like 20. I want to say 22 or 24 votes, which was really surprising. That was a lot more than I was expecting. Seen people either heard about it or got engaged with it. But yeah, the votes came in, and Barry Windsor-Smith, he took the lead and did not let go of that lead, which was surprising surprising for me. One, because Frank Miller didn't get any votes. Boo. Two, because Todd McFarlane's cover, his iconic Hulk 340 cover, did not win. And I know a lot of you guys are saying that in the chat as well just now. Like, a lot of people were surprised that that didn't make it. And I was too, to be honest. But it's okay. Like, I think I equally loved all three of those covers. And I would have been equally excited to work on all three of them, whichever one voted. So that's a win-win-win for me, having to do these master studies. But yeah, I was surprised that Barry Windsor-Smith won. In a head-to-head match with Todd McFarlane and Frank Miller, you don't often see him kind of take a commanding lead. So it's great. It's really great. It's kind of not what I was expecting, but I'm very, very excited to get started on that today. So yeah, good times. I'm really, really psyched to get going on that. And I scaled it up to size that I'm going to draw it in this weekend. So I've got that ready to go. But I do want to talk about a couple things. One was I just launched today the trailer for Comics Conspiracy. I had shown some of you guys in one of my previous streams my rough edit of that comic book store spotlight video. And so, yeah, I just launched that today. I got the go-ahead from the owner, Ryan. He saw it. He emailed me this morning, said, looks cool. So I just launched it public sometime this morning. And so, yeah, check that out. That's on my channel in the comic book. That's a tongue twister. Comic Book Store Spotlight playlist. Again, part of my joy about collecting comics is to promote local comic book stores, whether that's where I am in the radius of where I live my life, but also whenever I go out of town and I visit different locations, just checking out what their comic book stores are like. So Comics Conspiracy is in Sunnyvale, California. It's not too far from me, but I wouldn't consider it local for me. So I don't get down there too often. But I really like the store, and I really like Ryan. I just got to meet him when I was doing the video, and he seems like a very, very cool guy. He's been there a while, and as I'd written in the trailer captions, he used to be a customer and then took over the store after the original owner retired. So it's kind of pretty cool to see like somebody who goes from a fan, just a collector, to loving it so much that he wants to run the store as well. So Ryan does that, and he also has like a comic podcast that he does every couple weeks. And I don't listen to it, but I actually discovered it when I was doing a little bit more research on the store while I was editing that video. So anyway, check it out. If you're in the Sunnyvale area, go visit Comics Conspiracy and tell him I sent you. But yeah, another one in the rotation of comic book stores to promote. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was a conversation that Cranberry Langers was bringing up in one of the comment sections of my video, specifically about Frank Miller. And I also know this conversation was in one of Michael Bancroft's shows, his Art Share shows. But it's such a fascinating conversation. And the gist of it is, here we go, open up the can of worms. The gist of it is Frank Miller's current style and where that's going, how people are reacting to it, and all that. And I love that there's a conversation around it. I had touched briefly on it last stream about just my thoughts on that a little bit, elaborated a little bit more in my discussion with Cranberry Landers, but I thought it'd be worth to kind of start this stream off talking a little bit more just about my thoughts and just thoughts in general of it. So let me catch up in the chat here, and before I get too far behind, and say hello in the chat, and then we can get into that discussion. I've got a couple things that I just wanted to walk through, or just where my perspective is on Frank Miller, his style, where he's going, who he is, and it's no shock that I'm a big fan of Frank Miller. And so, yeah, where do I stand in where his style has changed? Because it has dramatically changed over the years. But here we go. Cranberry Landers. Stirring up the pot, Cranberry Landers.
This is a cranberry full of power.
I really did love your comments, Cranberry. I loved your perspective. I love what you were saying, and it's all 100% valid. I think the danger is when people have differing opinions about artwork. I don't know. Fandom can get heated really fast, which is fine. But I think the danger is when you shut down that discussion, or you just totally discount other people's opinions, even if it differs with yours. So that's not what I wanted to do at all. And I think what the conversation that we're having is really good to have about it. And I don't think anybody's wrong. It's just different, right? And when you get into discussions about art, it's like, well, there's objectively goods and bads, and you can look at things purely aesthetic. But for me, I think Frank Miller goes way deeper than just the aesthetics of a particular piece. So maybe that's why the conversations or the opinions are different in it. But anyway, we'll get into it. We already had a long conversation here in the chat comments before we even got started. So Mark's Music Obsession, what's up, Mark? How are you doing, Mark? Mark, I think Mark said he voted for Todd McFarlane, which I would have voted. If I had to pick, I would have voted for Todd McFarlane too. But that's okay. This Barry Windsor-Smith one's going to be good, Mark, so don't fret. But good to see you. Timmy Mello also said he voted for Todd McFarlane.
The Guardians are headed to October!
Oh, wait, maybe it was John who said he voted for Todd McFarlane. I'm getting all of you guys confused. Sorry, Mark, if you didn't vote for Todd McFarlane. But anyway, it's all good, folks. Cranberry Landers was debating going for the Todd McFarlane one, so close second. Yes. Unhinged is here. Jason, what's up, Jason? Listening for a bit while at work. Jason, I just read that Wayshack Violator last night, and if you had told me that you drew that, I would have believed you, because it's so there's so many things that he's doing that you do as well, whether that's intentional or unintentional, or if you guys just have similar aesthetic interests or whatever. But I know that you were kind of talking about that. I know you like that artist, and I'm sure if he saw your work, he'd like it, because you guys are like in the same universe as artists. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to read that and just look at that, and I'm like, this looks like something Jason would draw. It was really cool. So I don't even know who's drawing the fourth. That was issue 3 out of 6. I'm not sure who's drawing the 4th issue of that one. Issue 2 was drawn by Kyle Holtz, which was, out of this world. Wayshack drew 3. So yeah, I'm not sure who draws 4. I think they have a different artist every time. Michael Bancroft is here. What's up, Bancroft?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Good to see you, man. I'm sure you will chime in on this conversation about Frank Miller. John's here. Howdy, John.
Goes, what's your name? He goes, John.
Heading out to dinner already. Why is it so early, John? It's really early. Like, I can get it. the later streams, but this is an early dinner, John. Super early. But it's okay. I'm glad you're here. Who else? Everybody's saying hello. Scrolling down here. Does look like a very good shop. It's good. I think so. There's a scale that I'm seeing with different stores, and the scale is organization slash cleanliness. And all stores have a like are on that scale from like, sorry, my chair is squeaky, I need to oil it. From that scale from super disorganized to super organized, and Comics Conspiracy for sure is way on the like organized clean side of it. But I will say that that's not always like the goal. Well, I mean, I tend to like things nice and organized so you can find things either, but there is something to like digging through piles of unorganized comics that is really fun. It's just like the joy of the hunt a little bit. And when you walk into a store like Comics Conspiracy, this is not a knock at all to that store, but when you walk into a store that is very organized, you kind of need to know what you're looking for, and then you can, go to the exact area where you're looking. And if it's there, and you get it. And if it's not, then you don't. But when you walk into those stores that are just like hoarders' closets of comic books and just piles and piles and boxes of like dollar bins or whatever, there is just something really satisfying. Like my mouth starts salivating when I see that, because I'm like, okay, I'll look at my watch and I'm like, I need at least a good, hour or two just to kind of get comfortable. And I love that. I love that too. But I do think Comics Conspiracy is really well organized, and it's very clear the stock they have. And yeah, it's just a pleasant experience to walk in and look for books. So it's great. It's a great shop. Didn't even check back the poll. Glad to see my vote won. So John did vote for Barry Windsor-Smith. Gotcha. I got you all confused. Cranberry Langers wish he had that plastic man stool. Yeah, I do too. It's a really good one. Good taste in shirts that guy has. I was thinking about getting an Electra Psy for my sister-in-law. Wow. Gotta get two. Can't just get one. I mean, yes, I revealed in it. Yes, true, John, true. It's the Barry Windsor-Smith. I love it. Should have stopped the count back on Friday, Timmy Mello says, when they were tied or Todd was leading. Yeah. It was pretty cool. It kind of like it took the lead a little bit, like after I was done with the polling stream, and then it just kind of went bananas with it. And then I was surprised at how many votes came in, total votes came in for that, which was great. Part of it, I think, has to do with, I told you guys at the end of the stream I was dabbling a little bit in Discord, and I found one server. It's like the only server I'm part of. It's a YouTube channel. I found it through a YouTube channel called Comics Are Dope, and he has a Discord server too as well. So I just kind of peeked my head in and was like, what's this about? How does he organize it and stuff? And one of the servers that he has allows people who create content to post it in that server, just anybody. So I was like, I'll try it out. So I posted that poll in that content server, and he responded. The guy who owns the server, his name's BJ Kicks, I think. He responded and he was like, oh, I voted for McFarlane, but it looks like Barry Windsor-Smith's happening. So anyway, it was cool. So maybe that's how more people learned about it. I don't know, but yeah, I'm kind of wading in the shallow end of the Discord, John. So maybe I need to start getting some links here for Discord. I'll start a TikTok about the injustice over it, Timmy Mello says. Oh my gosh. He's in his Picasso era. Funny you should mention that, Michael Bancroft. I just pulled out this book, which I will share with you guys in a second. He could be. Yeah. Absolutely, he could be. Not his favorite. Not Mark's favorite. Consistency is the spice of life, or without consistency, how do you know when the spicy happens? Yeah. Maybe, are we talking about Frank Miller, or are we talking about comic book shops? Because could be both. Could be both, right? Like, you want to go to a shop where you know what you're going to get when you walk in, but you also like being, I also like being surprised by what I might find. So my usual routine is I'll find out what's coming out in a week, and I'll write down a list of like, okay, I want to pick up this, this, this. I'll go to my store, pick it up. But now, because I frequent multiple stores, I'm like, well, I could pick up this book over here and this book at this shop and this book at this shop, because this shop, I know I'm going to run into like a bunch of things that I might not expect, or this shop carries inventory of books that are off the beaten path, so I might want to do that, or this shop has back issues that I can always rifle through and they kind of update it frequently. One thing that I did, take a breath. One thing that I did realize, I don't know if your guys' comic book shops that you go to do this, but two shops that I go to do this, but I've only benefited from one, and it just happened this weekend from one of the shops, and that was Invisible Jet Comics. That was Chris's shop, the one that had the water damage, the fire damage, and whatever. And she's doing okay, by the way, but yeah, it's still kind of a rough go, and she's got her GoFundMe, so if you guys can spare a few dollars to throw towards her GoFundMe, please do. Any help helps. But anyway, one of the things I didn't know that she did this is they have like a loyalty program there. So in her particular case, if you spend $100 at her store, cumulatively, she gives you $10 off. So basically, I walked into her store, I was buying a couple books, and she's like, oh, you've got $10 credit. You want to use it? And I was like, I do? Like, and I've already spent $100 at your shop. So it was kind of cool. Like, I didn't even have to sign up for anything. It just was like something she has in her setup at her store, like the software setup that she has. And then the other store that does it is Mission Comics, which I don't even think I mentioned this yet to you guys, but Mission Comics, I found out recently through their Instagram that some tenant above them, their faucet broke or had a leak or something, and water came into their shop. So they are having to deal with water damage and how that affects their shop. It didn't close down their shop, but it happened, I think it happened right before Thanksgiving. But I was totally shocked. I was like, another store? Are you kidding me? So I was talking to Frank about this at Amazing Fantasy, which is another shop in San Francisco that I frequent. And Frank was like, am I next? And so yeah, it was kind of crazy that that happened to both Invisible Jet and Mission Comics. But Mission Comics, they also do a rewards program. They do it through some service where you have to enter in your phone number. So sometimes I forget, and I don't even know what the rewards accumulation is. But it was cool because I don't normally think of like a frequent buyer program perks when I think of comic book shops. I mean, I think of like, oh, if you're like a subscriber and you have a box, sometimes you'll get a discount. So that's cool. But something about like, it's like, these are kind of things I think of when you go to like a coffee shop. It's like, oh, you order 10 coffees and you'll get one free. So it's similar with Chris's thing. So it made me think like, oh, geez, well, that would make me want to shop at her store more, because if I'm adding up some bonuses to get free credit, that's pretty cool. So anyway, just to think about when it comes to comic book shop store economy, or just dealing with customers and the kind of incentives. Like, I don't know if anybody would have, I mean, you have incentives with crowdfunding. It's a little bit different, but yeah. Anyway, just all things that run through my mind as I think about comics on a daily basis. John says, my opinion, if your art requires exposition to be understood, is not art, but simply a visual aid. I don't know if I agree with that, John. I think that I understand why you say that, but I guess, yeah, it's not like Frank Miller in this particular case. It's not like Frank Miller is like giving excuses of like, oh, why this artwork is blah, 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 blah. He's just putting it out there and everybody's having their reaction. And I'm not trying to explain or even think that I know why his artwork looks the way it does now or why he's in this particular era of style. I'm just looking at his history of where he's come from and how his style has evolved and just making my own conclusions about that. But yeah, I don't think he's trying to make people understand his artwork by explaining it. I think he's just putting it out there and people are having like a very strong reaction to it. The era of being more famous as a person than as an artist. That's the era that Frank Miller is in. You can see the argument for that. John voted for Barry. Okay, cool. Mark's Music of a Session voted for Todd McFarlane. Gotcha. Sounds like that Campbell Soup can artist. Dinner time here. It's 5 p.m. You guys eat dinner at 5? That's really early. I think as my kids have gotten older, I've eaten dinner later. Then maybe as I get older, then I'll start eating earlier. But yeah, that's really early for dinner for me. Sometimes I eat lunch as late as like 3. Dinner will be around 6 p.m. my time. You forget you're 3 hours behind. Yes. But you said you were going out to dinner. It's only 5, right? You flasher me. I'm going to assume you meant flatter me, Jason. He is an influence, so is Miller and McFarlane. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I can see the Miller influence in it too. McFarlane, totally. Yeah, I see the Sam Keith influence in your stuff too. You've got a cool style, dude. I think I picked up on the McFarlane. Yes. Rocky, do you need Gothics and Katie's Discord server invites again? You only get 7 days on an invite. Well, I'm a little nervous to commit. To be involved in like these. I'm just like peeking in. Hold on the invites yet, John. I do. Hold on the invites. I'm still figuring out Discord to see whether or not I can handle it. I can see the power in it for sure. I can see the value. But I'm just still trying to figure out how it would work for me. And if I'm going to insert that into my workflow, into my life, social media world, I got to get a good handle of it. I just don't want to be thrown into it and just like, and then do it poorly. And then people are like, where are you? I'm a little non-committal about it. We got flooded with last minute votes. Did we? Was that right? Emo Trash. What's up, Emo Trash? Emo Trash is here, dedicated to lurking because I'm trying to get this damn project just out of the... So high, I guess. All right, Emo Trash. You do that. We love your company here. You do that. Oh, dang it. John already committed me to this. Wait. All right, I got to copy this and put this in my post-it so that... copy link. Oop. And how often, John... How often are you guys on all these servers all the time? Like, how does this work? All right, I got to write these down. Because if you're putting it out there, you said 7 days, eh? All right, 7 days. Oops, did I just click on that wrong? All right, let me put that here. Save in my notes. All right, I guess I'm committing. Rocky already speaking the fluent Japanese. When it rains, it pours. There's no truer words to that when it comes to water damage. Goodness gracious. And it wasn't even raining when that happened. I don't know what. It was a fluke accident for Mission Comics. It's really bad. I used to get a deal at my old comic book shop that got every 2 or 3 graphic you buy, you can pick a free one. That's great. I mean, that I don't know how that works out on the books for them. Like, how do they make much profit when they with these kind of incentives? They must, but I can see that 2 or 3 graphic novels you can pick a free one. That could go far. Yeah. You become so sensitive to the Japanese since you got that dog, haven't you? Goth Squad. Yep. Gothics. She's got a very interesting channel. She used to be. I'm gonna simplify it. She's got a way better way of putting it, but she used to be on one side of the political spectrum. She used to be a Democrat, or she thought she was a Democrat, and kind of waved that flag. And she was a gamer too, right, guys? And then she realized, like, after a few things, there's many interviews with her about just kind of what was happening in the media and how things weren't making sense. Like, totally wasn't making sense why people were fighting for the things they were fighting, or pushing so hard for their values, their political values. She saw a lot of hypocrisy and contradiction, and so she started digging deeper of like, what is going on? And so she has since flipped and left the Democratic Party and is now consider herself conservative, and she's also a Christian, so she is on the kind of now her biggest platform or voice is trying to tell people you need to think for yourself, because the way that media is handling politics and feeding information to you is not correct, and you just kind of eat it and take it and believe it. But if you don't be a critical thinker, you're just going to be thrown around and believing worldviews that aren't necessarily yours. So she's really fascinating. She has a great stream when she does live stream, and I know John frequents there, Cranberry Langers, a bunch of the guys that have popped into my chat come from there, so they're always talking about Granny Gothics, and yeah, that's her Discord, I guess. Mark's Music Obsession says, art, like music, is personal taste. Agreed. Like what you like and be happy. If you don't like something, just don't consume it. You would think that it could be just that simple, Mark. I agree with you 100%. But sometimes people hate it so much or like it so much that they hate people who don't, and vice versa. So it's really weird. But I agree with you 100%. And if, people don't like Frank Miller's covers, don't buy them. Don't buy them. Don't support the guy's artwork. But he is probably at that level where it doesn't matter. People are going to just snatch it up no matter what. Just because there's inherent value to something by Frank Miller. Guess I missed Rocky's acknowledgement. I don't know, tired, keep getting bothered, but dedicated to lurking now because I desperately want this crap off my plate. Did I not acknowledge you, Emo? I did. I know I did. Rocky, you can lurk in Gothix's server. No welcome to the server, but there is a welcome Rocky to Katie server. Oh, okay. Awesome. Gotta commit. Within 7 days, I gotta make these decisions. Whether I'm gonna commit or not. People would only buy 1 or 2 graphic novels, so it would encourage people to buy several more. Yep. And you would also not get the most expensive graphic novel. It had to be a lower price. Yeah, I get that. A lot of people woke up to see how crazy libs are from within their own camps. Yeah, and Gothix is definitely one of those people. She'd go after us if we said she's conservative. She says she's politically homeless. Oh, okay. She says she's on the Bible side. Yeah, her worldview, Christian worldview, for sure. All right, cool. I actually caught up. Wonderful. Yapping is at a medium degree today. Emo trash. All right, so cool. Let's talk about this Frank Miller thing first. So one thing I wanted to show you guys is this was an exhibit. So this was a Picasso exhibit that I saw in France when I went there. One of the trips I went there. And it was in the Musée de l'Armée. I don't know. It was the Army Museum, basically. The military museum there. Beautiful museum. Really cool stuff. But they happen to have a Picasso exhibit in it. And a lot of the work in it was from later years. It wasn't like a whole breadth of his work. But one of the things I thought, it was a great exhibit, but one of the things that was amazing about it was the later years of work that they were showing. He was already into this kind of cubist style that was so different. So the reason I bring it up, Picasso, is Picasso's career and a lot of his famous things that he's known for, works that are the famous Picasso works that are in mainstream, are the cubist, very simple things that make people go, "What is that? Why does that look so weird?" But that's Picasso, right? But if you haven't looked at his whole body of work, you would just assume that he always drew like that, this primitive kind of influence style. But he didn't. Like, Picasso could draw and paint as great as anybody during that time period. And so he drew very realistic stuff. You know, he did so many different studies and paintings that were what you would consider realistic paintings. But then he evolved over the course of time, and I wish I was more versed on his life's journey or history, and I could tell you, well, when he was in age 40, blah, 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 that's when he discovered this. I'm not, and I will admit that I'm not. But so like here, right here is here is an example of something that Picasso did in his earlier years. This was 1917. But he also, wow, actually this is 1917 too. So I don't know the context of when, yeah, 1918. So like just the range of what he did. This is my point. Not that I don't know his history, which I don't, but the point being that like the range of what his work could do and be representationally do was so wide and great, and what he was known for was a certain look and style and time period, and what he was challenging was a certain time period. But it came from a place of like, you know, the guy was an incredible artist to begin with, and then he just started challenging and breaking the rules of where he had come from for various reasons, whether that was, you know, he was exploring different styles, he was looking at different movements that were happening in the art community and pushing against them. Like, look at this. This is like a pointillism thing that you don't often equate Picasso's work with. But look, he could do it. He mastered it, you know. You know, just great study of a face. Looks normal. And, but then, you know, he went through wars, and part of the reason why his artwork, this particular exhibit, was in the military exhibit, was he himself served time in the military, and they focused on like his letters from that period of time, but also like the horrors of war that he observed. And so that inserted itself into his art and how he expressed himself. So you can see some of the startings of his studies here of one of his most famous murals, which was the Guernica, and which talks about the horrors of war. And just look how representational or how abstract he got. And he was looking at a lot of African art and primitive art and how that communicated a certain way. And then we started getting these things, which is like more of the classic, oh yeah, that's a Picasso style face, right? But you can imagine people who saw this art during the time, and here's the Guernica, in front of the Guernica here, saw this, was like, that looks so weird, that looks so different, that's not what a bull looks like, their eyes aren't like this. And he was just breaking all those rules of perspective and proportions and 3 dimensions and dissecting it and deconstructing it. A lot of this is kind of, but look at that, right? Like the super realistic study of a horse skull here, and then here is another interpretation of a horse here on this side, which is totally abstract and weird. And so yeah, I think, not to equate, look at that, this is crazy. I love this image. So anyway, I bring all this up with Picasso because similarly, his style evolved and changed, and it had to do with his time periods. It had to do with what he was experiencing, what he wanted to express, the kind of reaction he wanted to get from his artwork. Like he had a statement, a statement for what he wanted to do. And also, was he getting to a point where he was Picasso and he could do whatever he want? Was he like pulling the wool over people's eyes and drawing very weird stick figure-y kind of cubist things just because he was Picasso and could do it? Who knows? Who knows? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I bring this all back to Frank Miller. Similarly, I don't think Frank is like pulling the wool over our eyes and just cashing the check. I would be surprised if that's what he's doing. Maybe he is. Maybe he's in his own category. So this is another thing that I wanted to share a little bit with before I got into the master study, which this was a really cool book that I found, Comics Journal Library. They compiled all these different interviews they did with Frank Miller into this one book from the period of 1981 to 2003. But this is a really cool thing to look at because you can see the evolution of his style. And this stuff is from Sin City right here. So good. Man, so good. I love the size too. And so yeah, it's kind of cool. I'll flip through it quickly because it shows, like, you can actually see like this evolution of this style. And there's some great interview stuff in here with Frank. Okay, hold on. Let me catch up in the chat and then we'll jump into this Frank Miller thing really quick. Let's see. I'm only listening to the yapping for the moment away. I'm temporarily your hostage. Okay, dinner time, John. See you later, John. Thanks for coming in. He could draw in any style, yes. And Timmy Mello joined Katie's Discord. How about that? Ciao. Cranberry Langers is leaving. Cranberry, this was the whole, you're part of this discussion. Sorry, I talked too long. Well, you can jump in back later. Emo Tress says, I believe Picasso lived through some drama that happened in Spain. I'm ashamed that I don't remember exactly what that event is. It was the inspiration for one of his most popular paintings. Yes, exactly. Comrade Scanny. Comrade Sammy. Hello, my fellow screen connoisseur. I was reading connoisseur and saying your name at the same time. Your agile chat. Careful. Your agile chat ninja has arrived. John and Cranberry leave right as I show up. Dun dun dun. Everybody's in and out, kind of peeking in and out. It's one of those days. All right, let's see. Let's get a brief look at Frank Miller's. Let me hide my face so you guys can see this a lot better. But here is some. Like, here is a something he did for a Twilight Zone comic. Speaking of like military stuff. And they said this is his second professional comics assignment. So you can kind of see where Frank was at the beginning. Look how young that whippersnapper was. And he was really influenced by crime noir, film noir, obviously. Here's his early like Daredevil style. great. I mean, this is awesome because this is way before Sin City, and he was already exploring like these hard silhouettes, stark black and white images, geometric shapes, and like crazy perspective, very symbolic or kind of simplified perspective here. And you can already see how Sin City would be birthed out of this kind of stuff. This is him drawing Daredevil and Spider-Man and boiling them down to their silhouettes here. But here's his Daredevil stuff. And, regardless of Frank's style, whatever style season he comes from, his storytelling is always pushing the bounds, whether that's like panel progressions, layouts, action sequences, all this kind of stuff, like these countdowns here. It's really, you can just see it in his work. And I think that's where Frank Miller really shines, not just as somebody that has a cool style, or as like a great draftsman, but it's in his storytelling. Here's more Daredevil stuff. This was his take on Punisher from when Punisher and Daredevil interact with each other. So you can get a sense of like his style. This was like a classic Daredevil and Elektra right here. Beautiful stuff. It's like multi-panel layouts, which he did really well. He did this a lot in Dark Knight Returns. Here's the Wolverine limited series. So like this Daredevil stuff came first, and then this Wolverine limited series for Marvel. And that was the one that I was, issue 1 was that cover that was being voted on. But he still had a very traditional, anatomical style. I'd say he was heavily influenced by Will Eisner and all those guys, Neil Adams, those guys who were big shots at the time. I love this, though. This kind of took on like a photoreal feel to his stuff right there, which I remember seeing that page when I was younger and going like, oh, wow, that looks so different. That looks so real. It's not as stylized as his other stuff, but he really pushed that photorealism there. And then here's where we start getting into his concepts for Dark Knight. Look at this. Look how bold that is. I remember people like poo-pooing on that bat symbol too when it first came out. People were not happy about that bat symbol. Like, look at that. You think the guys who like the like standard like Neil Adams or like Jim Aparo or what are the other fantastic Batman artists of the time? Do you think they were liking this? I know this was a concept drawing, but that's totally where Frank was going. Like this stuff, this like old crotchety Batman. So he's like developing this. Then he was working on Ronin too at the same time. Let's see, 1986 was concept drawings for Dark Knight. I guess Ronin was 83. So this Ronin was before, but that's where he started bringing in the like manga influence into his work, which was really cool. The like Lone Wolf and Club, a lot of that artwork, that really hatchy line work. I really love Ronin. I didn't read Ronin when I was younger because it was not a big superhero comic, and I didn't understand what was going on. But now, as I've read it later in life, I really like it. I love how crazy genre bending it is, and I loved what he was doing in the artwork for that, how he was playing around in the artwork for that. Here's some awesome Ronin layouts. You can already see like remember, this is pre-Dark Knight Returns. You can already see that influence coming in. You can see the Sin City influence coming in. This is Bill Sienkiewicz artwork here, though. There's the Ronin stuff, so it's like so different. And the colors in Ronin were awesome. Really amazing coloring. And that was pre-Dark Knight Returns. Elektra Lives Again. So this was already different from his first foray into the Elektra saga. Like totally different style. And this almost feels like Sin City, Dark Knight Returns-ish to me. The Elektra saga. Or Elektra Lives Again. This is from Ronin. But you can see the like Sin City. Like just he's starting to simplify more. Use a lot more silhouettes. These are David Mazzucchelli drawings, but pretty sure based off of Frank Miller layouts or suggestions there, because Frank Miller was the writer. Here's some Ronin stuff right there. Look how different that, like, I love what he was trying to do. Like, just mess around with the mark making. And specifically, like, how does he integrate manga mark making into his style, into his like noirish style. That's what Ronin was all about. You see that? That's a guy punching another person, but it's all this like hatchy, contoury stuff. Crazy, weird, different, but it's like, holy cow, that's awesome. This is from Ronin as well. You can see already the Sin City-ishness coming into play. So dramatic, strong light source. And then here we are in 300, the world of 300. Some of this is out of chronological order. It's not totally correct chronological order, but it's just so cool to see all these different styles like next to each other. Okay, let's see. Everybody's saying hello, Comrade Sammy. I'm so amazing. I made Rocky trip over his words. Yes. K-pop junkie. How are you doing, K-pop?
How you like na-na-na-na-na-na-na?
Haven't seen you in a while, K-pop. How are you doing? I know you were having some like sickness you were dealing with and you were just overworked like crazy. But it's good to see you, K-pop. I hope you're well. Hope you're doing well. Hope your streams are going well. Still killing it with all your like 100 streams a week. I don't know. You produce so many streams, K-pop. I love it. You're so active. How are you doing? No jury duty. Wonderful. Wonderful. Elektra's resurrection seems like a comic staple. Absolutely. Cranberry Landry says, I liked Ronin, Holy War, maybe the first Batman Returnish, not really his stuff afterwards. Fair. Fair. Everybody's happy to see K-pop. Happy not doing jury duty, Comrade Sammy. Is that just for today? Oh, Monday. You got the whole week to check it, right? Cranberry Landers, is that how it goes? Look at this awesome. So he was doing some covers for the Lone Wolf and Cub compilations, which were really cool. Right off of his Ronin work. Here it goes. Here's Sin City coming in to play now. And here we go. Wow, that's Sin City. Incredible. Really incredible stuff. I know he didn't do the artwork on this. This is Jeff Darrow, but Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot. Who's the writer on that? Wow, look at that. Sin City. Here's some. This is from Sin City. Oh, Hell and Back, which you could see where he was going with 300 already. Here we go with his DK2, Dark Knight Returns, or Dark Knight 2, Dark Knight Returns 2. this is where people started like wavering on, this is amazing. But you can see how it's kind of the logical progression of where he is now coming from this stuff. And when this came out, it was amazing. So the question is, did he just go too far? Did Frank just go too far? Did he have another stroke? I've heard people talking about his health and that, like where he can't hold the pencil straight. Like, what is it, Frank? I don't know. I think it's just another evolution. It's another step. I mean, he's getting older. There's no doubt about that. But it doesn't surprise me where his style is right now. We did some great covers for Valiant. There were some covers he did for that book. There was a character named X, and he did covers for that book, which almost make the book worth buying just because of his covers. Here we go. I'll cover that up. This is an amazing Sin City pinup right here. And then these Daredevil covers is arguably getting to where he is now in his style. Like the proportions are a little whacked out. Poses. This is already in year 2000 he was doing this. And this is from Dark Knight Strikes Again. And I feel like the color really not blew it, but like just was not right on Dark Knight Strikes Again. And it added to people like hating that style so much. Here it is. I'm sure this is in the category of some of the style that people don't like. But it's like, was it too far? Was it the story itself too? Was it just the style? I don't know. I think it's a lot more complicated than that. Look at this. I remember people hating this when it came out. And I loved it. And now it's like one of the best versions of Batman ever. But this was not the Batman you were used to, right? Was Frank Miller a better artist than he is now? Probably. A lot more ability at that point. So whether you like or don't like where he is now, we can't argue that he is getting older and he's evolving. And I don't know if this end style that he's at is going to be where he lands and that's it. But if you watch any other artist as they've gotten older, they've had to adjust. You know, they can't keep up the same way that they used to. Here's a bunch of different styles all here. It's really cool. I found this at a used bookstore. I was really happy that I did because I haven't been able to run across this anywhere else easily. So yeah, that's Frank Miller. But it's great. It's great to hear where everybody lands on that, where everybody, what people's opinions on Frank Miller and whether they like it or not. I'm all for it. I really love it. I'm not like, oh, you have to love it. It's Frank Miller. But I love it. I particularly love it. I think it's just crazy and different, and it creates a reaction. I mean, so speaking of some of his recent work, he did a couple of the issues. So the things that people react to the strongest are covers that he does, like variant covers for Wolverine, Deadpool, all that kind of stuff. Like he's done a whole bunch recently, and those are the ones everybody's like thinks are the worst things ever. But some of his, he's recently did a couple issues of Ronin 2, and here, I'll pull them out. I think he drew this one. So it was him and yeah, he did. So when this series started, he was just doing layouts, and then Philip Tan, great artist, was doing the pencils and the artwork, and there was a inker named Daniel Enriquez was doing the inking on it. But there, all of a sudden, like in the middle of it, Frank Miller, this was one of the issues he did in another one. He took over the art duties, and it doesn't sound like, if I were to like guess, it sounds like there might have been a little bit of a falling out there, whether Frank was too heavy-handed or didn't like how the artwork was going, because Philip Tan's artwork was very, very different from Frank Miller's. So anyway, Frank Miller took over the art duties. Daniel Enriquez is still inking, and he was doing tone work on it. But this is Frank, and this is cool. This is really cool. The story was kind of a mess in this one. I didn't really connect with the story. And they just released a hardbound of Ronin 2, which is, it's pretty much this size. So instead of like it just being a hardbound of like this format, it's like this size, and they're like big pages. And it seems like Frank likes working that way now, these big horizontal compositions. But I don't know. It's cool art. And one of the things I was telling Cranberry in the comments when we were going back and forth a little bit about Frank Miller and his current style and blah, 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 was like, I just lost my train of thought. Hang on a second. What was I saying? Cranberry. Oh, that's right. If this style came out and it didn't have the history of all of Frank Miller's, like, oh, it should be Frank Miller. Like, Frank Miller draws like this. Why doesn't he draw like he used to? And all, like Sin City. Why everybody's making comparisons to his old stuff. If this was a new artist that came out, I don't know. I think people would be like really cool on it. Like, wow, this is such a unique style and so different and compelling. That's what I would think. But because we have in the back of our mind all the Frank Miller eras, we're just wanting to go back to whichever one was our favorite. Oh, I wish this was more like Sin City. Oh, I wish this was more like Dark Knight Returns. When Frank's just in a different, he just evolved to a different state, like Ronin. But yeah, I thought this was kind of cool. And this is at the same time that all those variant covers that everybody hates is coming out. So this is current, I would say, of Frank Miller's style. So this is Philip Tan right here. See how different that is from Miller. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting argument. This is arguably the same style as those covers that he's doing. Drawn better than maybe the Wolverine cover, probably, but it's the same Frank Miller doing it, And I'm not a diehard lover of everything that Frank Miller does all the time. Contrary to popular belief, I don't love every single piece of artwork that Frank Miller's done. But I do respect him tremendously as a comic book artist, and all the different iterations that he's taken have been really fascinating for me. Cran, will you be pleased to know I spent about 40 hours last 4 days moving the hell out of some office furniture. Oh, man. Frank did have a stroke a few years back, I believe. Yeah, I mean, I saw the documentary, the Frank Miller documentary, and they didn't really talk about him having a stroke. I thought when I saw him show up at cons, like images of him at cons, I thought he like had cancer or something. Like it looked like he was deteriorating. But my understanding, and based on watching that documentary, if you can find it, watch it. It's a great documentary. But my understanding is he really got into like alcohol bad, and it kind of like a rock star, like was just drinking all the time and working all the time, and it took a number on his body. So that's, I think, what happened. Whether he had a stroke, they didn't mention that in the documentary that I remember. But yeah, I can see all those factors kind of affecting him. So yeah, if that happened to you, and you were in his position, what would you do? If you can't draw, or you don't have the capacity to draw like you used to, what would you do, right? Miller was saying he's dealing with the after effects of... Yeah, there we go. Timmy Miller's got it. Another music reference, you can love an artist and not every album. Yeah, I agree. Not every song. You know, I don't love every Beatles song or every like Michael Jackson song or every Elvis song or whatever. Just fill in the blank of what artists you like. But as a whole, you know, they're figuring things out and evolving and changing depending on the influences they get, like Picasso, like Miller, and putting their art out there. I think what is a hang up for me as an artist is always feeling like each thing you put out there has to be perfect and a perfect representation and the magnum opus of who you are. And you strive for that, but if you are so worried about that all the time, you'll never put anything out, and you'll get like stuck at like, oh, well, it's not perfect, or what is everybody gonna think? And I don't think Frank Miller's like that. I don't think Picasso was like that. I think they just kept creating. They couldn't help but create and put things out there. And I struggle with that all the time, and I need to do that more for myself. So yeah, it's a thing. There's no surprise that music and art are tied as far as the journey that the artists or creators go through in it. It's very similar. Miller definitely got frustrated with someone. I thought this was a drawing stream. Stop it. Grant, I haven't been streaming much. It is a drawing stream, Comrade Sammy. It will be a drawing stream. We're getting to it. Here, I'll put this in front. Whet your appetite. Whoop. Did I just hit my camera? Whet your appetite. This is what we'll be doing. Scary. This is scary. Just seeing this image blown up to what I gotta do. Holy cow. And I think that I'm probably gonna do... I'm guessing I'm gonna do most of the inks with a brush on this one. But I might actually mix up both brush and quill. We'll see. Because there's some technical stuff that could do well with a quill. Some of these like hatch lines feel like they're more quill lines. I don't know. I could do the whole thing with a brush. We'll see. Scary. But why would he do that then? The Deadpool Wolverine looked better. But why would he do that for the Wolverine book? I don't know. Timmy Mello says, I don't even want to think about the loss of an ability. I'm just now getting it exactly. Just trying to poke at you. Your work ethic is commendable, impressive, hard worker, K-pop junkie. She is. Talk about somebody who just puts something out there, just keeps doing it. K-pop junkie is doing it. To lose an ability is devastating. Yeah. Like eyesight, hand-eye coordination, like steady hand. Oh my gosh. That'd be frightening. K-pop junkie can't wait to get back to streaming. Quit your mindless ramblings, Rocky, and scribble on them pages. I will. Blood, muscles, metal, and veins. Yep. Yes, this is the one that won. Isn't it crazy good? And like I said, once I blew it up to size, I was like, oh my gosh. What am I doing? All right, cool. So let's get into it. We're in the penciling phase, starting the penciling phase. Let's get into it. Okay, let's see. Check my messages. No emergencies. All right, now that I'm going to start drawing, please hit the like. If you haven't already. You don't have to hit the like to my yapping, but you can hit the like to my drawing. So what I think I'm going to do here, this is cool because it's one page. They're all one page, but it's one image, one big image. It feels like a totally different approach because like normally how I would approach a page, the previous master studies that I've done, I would, divide up the page to the panels and kind of get a rough idea of that. I don't have to do that here. I'm just like smack dab into like drawing this dude. I blew it up to roughly, and I was using, it's funny because I think that this Marvel Comics page, illustration paper, I believe that the margins and the proportions are slightly different from interior pages because you're dealing with a full bleed cover, right? And so I tried to get it as close as possible. I was using these hatch marks as my guide as far as how big to scale this up. But I also wanted to make sure I kept it in frame, because if you can see here, I believe these are the trim lines. Well, it might be the safe line, these indications here. But his artwork is bleeding way to the edge. Like right here is the edge of the actual scan of the page, the original page. And so he bled that artwork way to the edge right there. And I've actually seen when they've used this artwork for different things. They used it for the cover of individual issues. I think it was in Marvel Comics Presents, if I'm not mistaken. They've used it for like trade paperbacks. And I've seen it cropped differently. I have seen it cropped where it kind of followed the crop line here. So it was like, part of Wolverine's hand and claw were cut out. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it all in. So I actually shrunk it a little bit than what it should be, just because I wanted to make sure I included all of this beautiful, beautiful artwork in. So yeah, that's how I started off there. And then I was thinking that usually what I do, because I'm dealing with like dividing up the page over different panels and blah, 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 it was easy to eyeball like, oh, okay, I'm dividing it 3 panels here. And then I would eyeball it. And then I would start eyeballing like the proportions of how things are laid out. This one I might use kind of a flipping page animation technique where it's like I will like flip this page to see roughly where things go on the page. So let me get some tape. I should have got my tape. Let me get some tape here first, so that when I'm flipping, it's not sliding all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this page here and kind of treat it like, just so I can get it in the right position on the page as I'm roughing it out, and then I'll pull it off and put it to the side and then just kind of eyeball the rest of it, if that makes any sense. I got some pink jelly beans. All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna like, this is so dumb actually. People should be like, why don't you just lightbox it? Because I'm not gonna do that. So I'm just trying to get like a rough gauge of where things go, where things fall. And for anybody who's done traditional, this is kind of related, but not really. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but for anybody who's actually done traditional flipping paper for traditional animation, usually you learn it where they call it the peg bar is pegged at the bottom. And they have these 3, it's not like circles, like the middle one's a circle and the 2 are like ovals, but it's like these special pegs that all the paper has. And then you just layer it on top of each other and you flip it. And depending on what you're doing, what the action is, sometimes you'll have upwards of like 4 or 5 pages that you're flipping in between, because you want to make sure it's all from page to page to page is matching, right? Otherwise, when you shoot the image and film it, like all the mass and the proportion, the volumes shift around and they look really wonky. So you're constantly, as an animator, you're constantly flipping back and forth and looking, and measuring proportions back and forth. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. It's weird. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but I feel like it will help me like anchor this image a little bit more on the page before I break it down. And because I don't have those panels to anchor me a little bit as far as where things belong according to like the panel breakdown, I'm just doing it this way. So I'm just looking, I'll flip, go back and forth, and make sure I'm kind of in the same area. Just rough shapes right now. And then when I get that to a good place, I will just eyeball the rest. So this is weird. Who knows if this technique will work, but we'll try it out. We'll try it out here. And I don't even know how this is looking for you guys. Yeah, I guess you can see. You can kind of see it. I'm drawing pretty light. And even when say when I do like life drawing or like drawing like at a museum or at the zoo, or like I'm studying something, my eye will do this where I will look at the subject and then look back at the paper and up at the subject and at the paper, and you're constantly like, it's a mental flip that you're going back and forth to try and match what your eye is seeing and what you're putting down on paper. So that's similar to what you're doing here when you flip the page. I remember as a kid and just loving all the like behind the scenes when animators would flip paper and you would see them draw like this and they would be flipping stuff. And I even remember like in Florida at Disney World, there was a point in time where Disney had an animation studio in Florida. It wasn't just in LA, it was in Florida. And they built it into Disney World. And so you can go in and like watch the animators working while you're like in the park, taking a tour of the park. And I remember just being so fascinated watching them like flip the paper. Not many people do that anymore. It's really sad. It's all like digital now, which, I mean, you know, you can understand why, but there's something to the beauty of the art of people flipping paper that I love. Maybe that's why I'm doing it. Trying to relive my childhood. So yeah, I'm just trying to hit like big shapes, and then I move around the page, like kind of hitting shapes here and there, and then as I go back and forth, once you get certain shapes down, then you start mentally like measuring them to other parts of the image. Like this would be harder to do with multiple panels. That's why I'm doing it for like a cover kind of thing. I feel like I need like Benny Hill music while I'm doing this. It's always like constant adjustments. And that's why it's good to work like pretty loose, you know, not super tight to begin with, because you're constantly adjusting and redrawing and changing. Make sure. Changing the location and stuff. Yeah, like I can already see. This is way off. Yeah, see that? It's kind of slowly coming in there. Emotress says, oh, that one beautiful. Comrade Sammy says, right, looks like the most difficult. That's why I picked it. Darn you. Work up a good sketch, buddy. I thought it would stretch Rocky the most. Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to take that as a good thing. I also picked that one both because I feel he should suffer, but also because I preferred it. Good. Good. Are we unequivocally evil for making Rocky suffer? We might be. Yeah. I don't know what we've built here, guys. Like, I've built like a self-inflicted torture chamber with you guys in here. It's like, torture me. What is this? No, this is great. And it's curated torture because I knew all of those. Granted, this one looks complicated, yes, but all of them would be really, really hard to do. Yeah. It's funny because, yeah, I mean, this is all like training for my eye too. Even though I'm doing it in this weird methodology, it's all training for the eye, just like exercising the eye, like doing reps in the gym. Because if I'm saying, for example, like how would this apply if I'm working on my own book? Would I be transferring an image like this on my own book? Not really. I'd be drawing it straight on the page. But what I'm doing, trying to match things with my eye and move things around and try and capture volume properly and perspective properly by doing all this stuff, for sure it will translate to hopefully being better at it when I work on my own work. I read one of the books I picked up or talked about last week was Rockefellers, that Ghost Machine book that I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this, but I'll pick up the first issue. I just read it this morning and I really liked it. It's good. It's a good story. Very compelling story. The artwork's... I'd say that Francis Manapool is a fantastic illustrator. I did have a couple issues with some of the storytelling things here and there that he did, but as far as just like drawing, pure drawing and like aesthetically beautiful designs, he's great. Really good. But it seems like a great story. Like it started off and it already like punches you in the gut from the get-go. So if you like, it's kind of a family story. If you like family time traveling sci-fi genre, it's a good one to check out. It's care, encouraging growth. Ooh, jelly beans, share with the chat. So I got these jelly beans. You guys will laugh. They're Jelly Belly jelly beans, but they're all pink ones. Basically the way that they marketed them is they're the Barbie, the Barbie Jelly Bellies. So all the flavors were like strawberry and cotton candy and whatever, champagne. That's why I liked it, because I do like pink flavored Jelly Bellies. Not one of these did I not like. So, am I proud that I picked up Barbie Jelly Bellies? Not really. But do I like the flavors? Heck yeah. And the tricky thing is, they have them right there at the cashier. I forgot where I was, but it's right there at the cashier. So you're buying whatever, and then you see these things, and you're like, ah, dang, I do want some pink jelly beans. So, like, it's funny, again, as things get locked in or, like, a little bit more fleshed out, then you just start realizing, like, oh, that's way off, and then you start adjusting, like, everything. Right now, everything is shifting down. I drew some shapes too far north. Now I'm having to shift everything down. And that is why you use color erase pencils or soft leaded pencils, so that you don't put down such a heavy mark, and then when you have to change it, it's a pain in the butt. It'd be so cool if I could animate on stream. That would be so cool. Like, traditionally animate. There's no way I have that set up. That would be fun, though. There's tons of videos of some master animators that are traditionally animating on screen. It's really fun. It's like they call it the phrase that Disney, the 9 Old Men, the Disney animation Walt Disney came up with was the illusion of life. And I so love that. I think it's so apropos, that description of what it is, because that's what got me so excited about animation, was just watching somebody bring drawings to life. Like, bring a character to life. And to watch the actual craft of that was so fun. So yeah, it's kind of sad, like, now that we have all that technology, like YouTube and streaming and Twitch streaming, like, if we had the animators that we did when the 9 Old Men were around to, like, be doing that on live stream, that'd be incredible. But now everything's so digital that, yeah, I've seen people animating online with digital programs, but you don't see so much the traditional thing, like flipping paper. My gosh, I think one of the hardest things on this image is going to be the hair, the hairy chest, all the marks for the hair. That's going to be hard. I can't relate. I'm Asian. I don't have this much hair on my body. Too much information. But I don't. You guys can kind of see that. Jelly beans sound good. Flipping paper, that's right. Go eat, Comrade Sammy. Hungry for sketch wisdom. There we go. This did remind me of animators working on cells. Yeah, it's magic. Total magic. That's what I was doing while I was drawing noses. Oh, really? Were you flipping? I missed that. Go check out Cranberry's channel, everyone, of him flipping noses. Oh, I think I do remember you call it. Oh no, you said picking noses. I'm getting got confused. It's funny in this whole time of like picking Wolverine images, and then you do like a Google search of like, oh, Todd McFarlane Wolverine, to try and find a right scan or image, and you'll see a million images of that cover, the Hulk 340 cover. But then you see all the people that have recreated it, whether that was exactly or they're doing their homage to it. And I mentioned this before, but everybody that tried to recreate that image, not everybody, but I never found one that was like a newer version or a homage version that was better than what Todd had done. And they tried to make it like more realistic, and like the rendering was more, and the coloring was better, and blah blah blah. It's just like it just doesn't look as good. It doesn't have the same impact. Like oftentimes we think like the more realistic you can draw, the better of an artist you are, and a lot of the mainstream comic artists right now have this very realistic style. Like they can draw. But I think for me, what makes a comic book artist so exciting is interpreting reality through their lens as opposed to trying to recreate reality. And like how the choices they make to simplify things, the choices they make to exaggerate things, like that is more fascinating to me than just great anatomy or real drawing. Like you can't get more realistically competent, masterful artist than like somebody like Alex Ross, right? And he's a great designer, but I will always take a like Mike Mignola over an Alex Ross or Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane. Like, let's just say I have way more Rob Liefeld comics in my possession than I do Alex Ross comics. And can Alex Ross draw better than Rob Liefeld? Yeah, for sure. Okay, now I just realized this hand's got to go way down again. And another reason with the color race, I had mentioned different reasons of why I use specific colors. I'm out of jelly beans. I gotta go upstairs and get some more. Of like why I use different colors, and I had mentioned it's like, oh, it just depends on if you've overworked a page in a certain color or just how you feel. Like if you're drawing in red and it doesn't come out well, switch to blue. Whatever. Those are all reasons that you pick different colors with color race. But another reason, specifically in animation, I just thought of it now as I was doing this flipping, is because you flip between pages so fast and your eye is tracking like what's happening on each page and you're trying to make everything on model and connect. Sometimes I remember when I would be animating is I would pick a different color depending on the frame I was working on, so that mentally I would track like, oh, that red arm looks off, right? Or the green arm is off from the red arm. Because if they're all the same color, then it's hard to like really decipher like which one is off, if that makes any sense. So sometimes I would do that. Just change the color on the image to help me know which frame I'm looking at. And you do that in digital. I've seen people do that with digital animation where they'll make the layer a specific color or the outlines on a layer a specific color. So all the same reasoning. Can you guys believe that Christmas is just, God, it's right around the corner. I can't even believe that. It's all happening way too fast, as does the end of the year. Before we know it, we're going to be in 2025. That is crazy. Oops. Focus. See that? That's where we are right now. That's how I formed my new PFP of an anime character called Boo. I had to constantly check the proportions and ink it all in after sketching it in pencil. Yeah. You can already see the outline come together. Yes, I see your new profile. I love that you're always changing it, Timuel. It's great. It's partially Kid Buu and Toriyama's style. Oh, that's right, Toriyama. It's a simple inking for a beginner, but it came out well. Awesome, man. That looks great. Looks great. Yeah, I mean, just for a profile, just my 2 cents, for a profile picture, it can be a little darker on the lines, whether that's you're making the lines thicker or you're just darkening it up just for the profile picture so it can see it clearer. But I can see like the eyes and it's tricky with profile pictures, right? It's like because they're always a different style, not different style, different size depending on what it's being used for, whether it's a certain social media platform or like, yeah, when I pop your comments up on the screen, I can make your your guys' profile picture as big or small as I want to, right? So depending on that, the readability of that changes. Sounds like a fantastic selection of Jelly Bellies. It's like the best. I have oranges now. I blame Rocky and his pink jelly beans for reminding me I need food. At least you're eating something healthier than I am. I had a burrito. Sounds excellent. Shelby probably could pull something like that off. Yes. Shelby makes his stuff, I mean, it must just come with experience, but when he's doing art on stream, it just looks so effortless. And he's for sure done this way more than I have. But yeah, he just makes it look effortless. Like, he's so chill about it. I don't ever see him like make a mistake. Everything's shifting over. I think Barry Windsor-Smith was one of the first to make, and this was part of the story too with Weapon X, but he's one of the first to really give Wolverine these like bony looking feeling on his claws. Prior to that, it was more blades. And I know it went with the story of like his claws being adamantium laced. I remember I'd have many debates with friends about, does he have blades like knives or are they like claws? And so many different artists did it different ways. I like both. I think if I had to pick one, I would pick the blades, just because it was cooler. But there are some great renditions of it that are like bony claws. And it did make more sense. Yeah. Your beard mustache can look cool, but nah, not really. I can't grow a beard to save my life. The picking misses was just me joking with the people in the chat. Oh, okay, got it. I have a packet of trail mix. Trail mix is good. Yeah. Yeah, get that sugar, emo trash, or else we're going to be like all caps emo trash in a second here. Trail mix is good. So are those peas. Oh, I do like those pea snacks. Wasabi peas are great. Really like those. Oh no. Emo alert. Emo alert. Get something in your body. Alex's drawings from childhood compared to today with the progress he's made is absolutely staggering. Alex's drawings. Alex who? Wait, did I miss? Oh, Alex Ross. Yes. Yes. And I think it was his mom was an artist too, so he kind of grew up in an artist household. So that probably helped his exposure to art. And I think again, if it was his mom, I think she's like a traditional artist, not a comic book artist, but she was like a traditional painter or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's great. That's nice to have that resource in a parent. But yeah, I mean, he's really amazing, and he's different than artists that just do. There's so many artists that had tried to do the Alex Ross thing, tried to do the like hyper real superhero thing, I always feel like he is a better designer too than people think. They think, oh yeah, he's just using reference photos and just painting them, but his design sense is amazing. Like costume design and just his overall just sense of design. Because I really saw that in the stuff that he did for Earth X. He did the covers, and John Paul Leon was the artist on Earth X, but Alex Ross did all the designs for the characters, and I thought those were amazing. Like really cool interpretations of the heroes we know and love, but in the like future. All right. It's just the stuff just jumps around. Stuff that I think is like, oh yeah, that looks pretty accurate. And when I go back to it, it is not accurate. That's why I think it's important to kind of move around the page and not just get so focused on one area when you're drawing. You gotta like clear your visual cache, if that makes any sense. Like just kind of clear your eyes a little bit and move on to another part of the page and then come back to it, especially if you get stuck or stumped or you're struggling. But that reset, that visual reset, helps you to see it better. And sometimes also another technique is like looking at things upside down or in a mirror helps a lot. Because we have our brain operates with certain biases. And if you literally flip an image on its head, it kind of shifts that in your brain. I don't know the science behind it, but it works. I would take an Alex Ross over Mike Mignola, but not over Adam Hughes or that one dude who did the art for the Marvel Oz books. Who's the guy who did the Marvel Oz books? Marvel Oz books. That wasn't Scotty Young, right? No, it wasn't Scotty Young did Marvel Oz. Wasn't Eric Shanower? Who was the Marvel? Look that up, Cranberry, and let me know. Marvel Oz books. If you're vibrating emo, it's too much. That's a good rule. That's a good rule of thumb. If you are vibrating, it's too much. Five monsters in a day to keep me from losing consciousness. I could not drink Monster. I couldn't. I think that would kill me. 5 of them a day? Oh my gosh. Christmas has come fast. We passed your 1-year anniversary of streaming, Rocky. Did we? Oh my gosh. Did we really? I don't even know what day that would be. Happy 1-year anniversary of streaming, everyone. I don't even know what day that was. I don't totally keep track. I know I started around this time, like end of the year last year. Yeah, Is that not crazy that we've been doing this for a year? That is crazy. And where we are right now is very different than I would have ever expected, in a good way. So, happy 1 year anniversary, everyone. Oh, just heard some fantastic news about the Jason Pearson body bags artist edition. They just announced on their crowdfunding page that they're including, one of the stretch goals they're including is the original scans of Michael Golden's covers, because he did the covers for those body bags issues. They're including the original scans of those. They contacted Michael Golden and he agreed to scan those in for that book. So that's a double whammy for me. You guys already know how much I love Michael Golden, and he was a huge influence on Jason Pearson, and I love Jason Pearson. So, man, can't even imagine. I cannot wait to get that thing in my hands. Before we know it, it'll be tax season. Yikes. That's not good. I'm re-inking it as a draw along. Oh, cool. Awesome. Cranberry Langer says, I'd like to draw. You should do it, Cranberry. That'd be so cool. That's it. You need to do that for your next stream. A new profile picture. That'd be amazing. Literally just said a few minutes ago that good choices and artists don't mix. Oh my gosh. Are you having a conversation with yourself, emo trash? What is going on here? Make sure you eat something. Get that sugar level up. Shelby is a robot. Dude inks like a printer. Yes, absolutely. He really does. I don't see the process at all. It's just like, boom, 100% confidence. His claws don't make sense. Emo Trash says, my body is a mud hut at best. How would he cut with the rounded ones? So yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, how does he cut? That's a good point. Like, I mean, he could stab for sure, but yeah, how would he like slash and cut? Unless, I mean, they were so sharp that it's not like he's hitting it on the side here with the claws, but as the points hit, like it's so sharp, it creates the groove that the rest of the claw can go through. I don't know. That's like comic book store debates right there. But it looks cool. I like the bony ones after he had the adamantium pulled out by Matt. Those were always kind of weird for me. I didn't like the way those looked. They were like kind of gross. It was like seeing part of his skeleton exposed or something like that. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the bony ones. But claws or blades, I could go back and forth between those. Like I like those equally, I'd say. And it had a lot to do with the artist's interpretation of it rather than the physics of it. Oops, sorry. I always hit my mic. Hit that like. I just hit my mic and remind me, hit the like. It's the simple things in life, guys. The simple things in life. Emo Trash, finally free of the worst of this. Did you just finish your class? I know finals are coming up. So, yeah. That's cool. Are you excited about the next semester, at least? I hope so. Hope there's a couple classes in there that you're excited about. I mean, if you don't like school, you're not gonna like the working world any better. School's fun. Just certain parts of school are fun. But if you're learning something that you like to learn, it can be really fun. Wolverine claws never made sense, and this guy tested them and came to the same points I had when I was like 12 or something. Oh, cool. I'll have to watch that. Sorry, just checking my messages. Yeah, I'll have to watch that. That sounds cool. That sounds very internet. Is that like a... what's the name of that show? Mythbusters? Do they do a Mythbusters on it? That'd be awesome. That would be a perfect thing for Mythbusters. Too high. I'm definitely writing this one down, studying images upside down. Yes. What's up? Art and Times of J. Ryan. Good to see you, man.
It's actually a really good sculpt.
We're doing it. We are hitting up the Barry Windsor-Smith. Channeling Barry Windsor-Smith here. And I'm using this kind of weird flipping paper technique to try and just rough out the basic shapes here. I was explaining to the chat that, like, because it's not a sequential page and there aren't like panel divisions to help me lock down like where things land on the page, I decided to do this little kind of animation page flipping technique to, that's the official term, to help me get things kind of in space where they should be. It's sort of working. Sort of going as planned. Mark's Music Session says, I drink coffee all day, every day. It doesn't bother me at all. Comrade Sammy says, I looked, December 1st was my first stream. Really? Wow. Yeah, I it's funny because, like, when you look at people's channel, what do you call it? Channel profile or about information, you can see when they joined. And I know in my account, like, I joined in, like, 2017, but that had nothing to do with streaming. I think it was 2017. Or either that was 2011. Had nothing to do with streaming. That was like whatever. You just like started a YouTube account for something or other, but it had nothing to do with what I'm doing now. So it looks like it's like, wow, you've had this you've been streaming since 2017. It's like, no. So December 1st, that's actually, whether that's the, I mean, that is, if that's the first date, that's kind of a good first date to remember. Easy to remember. I cannot believe we've been doing this since December 1st. That's nuts. But then I believe it because I hear other people saying like, yeah, they've been streaming for like 4 years to get where they are, or even longer. It's crazy. I can't believe you guys have stayed that long. You decided to come back. Goodness gracious. I think the number one advice I've heard from people who stream longer than I have, the number one advice everybody tells me is ignore the chat. And I still don't do that. Which is why I'm like, I was laughing at that last stream, the voting stream, because everybody was like, he's going to be like 40 minutes behind. And it was true. It's really adds up. Getting into details here. I shouldn't get into details. Should still work on the shapes. It's a trap. It's a trap. I love this helmet that Barry Windsor-Smith designed. It's a cool helmet. I'm sure somebody's done it. I don't think I've seen it, but I'm sure somebody's done like a cosplay of this helmet. This would be a cool helmet to try and build. If I had the body of a Wolverine, I would cosplay as this version of Wolverine. But I don't, so I won't. But I'll build the helmet for somebody else. I would do that. Focus. Happy first year, Rocky. Thanks, Cranberry. It's like study negative space in theory when you think of it, but I never really thought of it until it's brought up in stream. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. It's all just kind of like your eye referencing shapes. You know, like where do the shapes and how do they connect with other shapes? And whether that's the negative shapes or the positive shapes or you know, when you turn things upside down, you see things differently. Emo Trash, there we go. Thank you, Emo Trash. 442 subscribers. Come on, 500. We're doing it. It has hit 442, like 440 around there. It does, like, you know, it did like kind of hit a hitch, like a little like a like I feel like we grinded a little bit to that gear. When sometimes it's just like followers come quick and fast. I don't know. So We shall see if we can hit 500 by the end of the year. That's still my goal. Who knows? But as much as you guys can shoot out, like these draw streams, these master study streams do get quite a bit of engagement, so that's nice. They have been great for gaining new followers. Some odd reason people love watching other people draw on stream. Okay. Oh my gosh, Timmy Mello, did you hear about Juan Soto? Sports ball talk, guys. Juan Soto just got paid like $700 bajillion. Like the most ever of any sports contract ever. It was crazy. I was talking with my son about it, and I was like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb money. Toot toot toot. Happy stream anniversary, mad lads. Happy 1 year of putting up with us heathens. You guys have been awesome. Scotty Young did the Ozbooks. Okay, cool. You can also invert it by flipping the front page. Yeah, you could. You could. Semester is finally over. I could finally carve out time to make another profile picture for myself. Awesome. Doesn't make sense. Berserker Barrage. Who was I thinking of that for? Oh my gosh, I was thinking of that sound effect for somebody. I can't remember what it was. That's a good one. Everyone has a skeleton inside them, just a fighting to get out. You have been warned. Cranberry Langer says, I like the aesthetics of the bone claws, but they're less effective. And he was showing parts of his skeleton. Yep. Like and subscribe always, Comrade Sammy. Thank you. Campus class is done once he posts final grades, and I just finished this project for that. Awesome. School is not fun, but you're done. You made it. Random McRanderson, what's up, man? I really enjoyed school. You can spend your time learning all the time instead of dealing with BS clients and stakeholders and contracts and BS. Yes, absolutely. I mean, yes, it's nice to earn a living doing something creative, but you're never in a space of just freely learning without any other goal other than to learn and get better, and then just to try things out too. You never are given that freedom as much when you make a career out of it. So I had such a great time at school learning, and I was never a like party kind of surprise. I was never like a party kind of guy. I would just work all the time or read comics or like watch films, hang out with friends. So it was fun. It was just a fun time, and very little responsibility other than just learning. It was good. And I think too, I don't know if it's just like the creative thing or like learning art when you're in art school, it's a lot different too. Cause I mean, you're drawing, like, it's not like you're learning like Excel equations or, you know, math differentials. It's like you're drawing, studying art, studying beautiful things. But yeah, it can be stressful. Assignments can be stressful. Homework can be stressful. Your Wolverine is coming along well. Thank you. I would go back if I could, but it doesn't make sense career-wise. Yeah. Yeah, same. I always thought that, like, oh, I wonder if I should take a master's. But then, one, super expensive. And two, would I really... I mean, unless I wanted to become a teacher, I don't know if a master's would really serve me well. It's fun. Fun to learn, but... it would have to be a right kind of program. There's so many online things now, too. Different than when I went to school, where you can learn a whole lot, arguably even better than you could in school. I don't know. I wouldn't totally rule it out, but I think the stuff I couldn't go back to school would be like writing papers or essays or research, that kind of stuff. That one I would not want to go back to school for. Oops. All right, let's see. That it's crazy cross hatching. There's a mess of wires back here. Emo Trash says, I didn't mind school when it was just the public school system. Now it's both stressful and yeah, I know the cost is puts a lot of pressure. Don't regret your choices. You're doing fine, Emo Trash. It's gonna be okay. It's kind of like Mythbusters. The guy is a professional blacksmith or makes weapons professionally, and he tests weapons. Oh, okay, cool. That sounds cool. Fantasy, sci-fi, popular movies, and television shows. Awesome. Random McGranderson says, I have a light box for this purpose. Yep, that's always been the question. Some people have asked me, like, why don't you just use a light box if you're just trying to reproduce? I think for me, it's, and I've mentioned this many times before, it's really the exercise of, I don't just want to trace on top of what's been done here, but it's the exercise of, like, drawing it out and trying as best as I can to recreate it without tracing it and just inking over a light box pencil. Sounds kind of crazy, but I do believe that that exercise of just practicing your eye, transferring what you're seeing through your hand onto the page is really valuable. And part of that is just hand-eye coordination over, you know, just trying to get the line exactly where it is before. So none of my master study recreations are accurate 100% to the original, but I try and get as close as possible, keep proportions and everything as close as possible. And then this, like, paper flipping technique right now is just another way of transferring over it without copying it, without tracing it. Because, yeah, it would be way faster if I just used a light box. But then that would just be focusing on the inking side of it as opposed to also the sketching pencil side to it. If that makes any sense. I think this master study will go a lot faster than the other ones too, just because it's one image. So that's kind of cool. That helmet's super cool. It's a fun channel. Screen tested. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. It's a real positive once you get out. Oh, for school. Yeah. I'm not threatening Rocky's viewers. You can't prove anything. I'm not worried about being rich. I just want to be comfortable. A lot of artists are like that. They just want to be able to do what they love doing and make a living from it. And there's rarely few artists that I'm like, oh, I want to be like a... I mean, nobody would turn it down if they could, or if they were posed with that. But most people just want to make a living, an honest living, and continue to do their art. That's how I am. You're right. Cranberry regrets it every day. Rocky can't ignore chat now since I'm done with that project. Oh boy, here we go. Spelling is for nerds. Who would stay to listen to your jokes? Good commentary and slowly reading this chat while you draw. Apparently 442 of you. So there. Boom. Mic drop. I would need to hit the gym and stop eating junk. Happy first year. What's up, Alan? Alan Lau. Wait. Alan Lau? Is it possible that we haven't played your sound? I don't think we have. Alan Lau, get ready. This is perfect. Celebrating the 1 year anniversary unofficially officially and unofficially. Check it out, Alan Lau. This is for you, buddy.
Hey kid,
What?
I'm a computer.
Do you remember that, Alan Lau? Oh my gosh. When I was trying to think of a sound for you, I was like kind of racking my brains a little bit. And then what other better meme than the Fensler G.I. Joe sounds? Let's play that again.
Hey kid,
What?
I'm a computer.
I should have included the computer sounds in that too, but if you guys have not seen those G.I. Joe parodies, oh my gosh. Alan and I and our other friend Brad would laugh at these. We would just watch them over and 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 over again and just laugh. They're still funny. When I was researching all of them for that sound effect, I just kept laughing. I was like, these are evergreen funny. So check them out. Look up Fensler. I think it's Fensler. Fensler Films, G.I. Joe PSAs, and you will laugh your butts off. How you doing, Alan? Good to see you. I'm not here for Rocky. I'm here for the cool Barry Windsor-Smith drawing. Hey, that's fine for me. That's okay. Not that I figure anyone remembers and or cares, but apparently I managed to get a lot better than a 50 on that stupid essay I had to write the other week. Congratulations. I'm going to give you... Congratulations. That's great. There is a sliver of hope for you, Emo Trash. But Jillian... I'm still having heart palpitations. Oh my gosh. 15 years, $765 million, everyone. So, if you do want to become buku rich, I would suggest not going into art and going into baseball, because that's what Juan Soto just landed with the New York Mets. 15 years of his life for $765 million. Insane. When Shohei Ohtani, the great Shohei Ohtani, who people are arguably saying is the Babe Ruth of our generation, was acquired by the dreaded Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he signed for like $700 million or something, and they were like, "This is the biggest contract ever." And Juan Soto was like, "Hold my beer." Like, I mean, he's phenomenal. He's an incredible player, but $765 million. That's sick. Yes. Emo Trash got like an 80-ish. Awesome. That's great. That is great. That's right. 80%. That's awesome. That's a great grade. Emo Trash is not 100% committed to an art career anyway. That's right. Don't you want to work at the in DC, the Mount Rushmore? Don't you want to work at Mount Rushmore? That's a possibility, right? We know you love your history. Let's see. Emo Trash regrets her choices. I knew college was a scam before I even fell into it, yet here I am. It's far more rewarding drawing freehand and referencing. I agree. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's places for lightboxing stuff, but since this is not my own artwork and I'm reproducing somebody else's artwork, it's better to do it. I feel like it's better to do this way. If I was doing like another iteration of something I'd already drawn, then I would consider lightboxing, as opposed to starting all over again, because I already went through this process, and the light box is just refining it. But since it's not, then do it this way. Random McRanderson says, I went to school and studied architecture. Wow, architorture. Then worked for a bit and went back to school, took civil structural engineering. Huh. I wish I could have spent all that time learning art, but it pays the bills. Yeah, architecture is one of those jobs. I have a good friend of mine who's an architect, and it's one of those jobs where you're putting in like way too many hours and you're not getting paid well. Like, I don't know any architect that is really getting paid well. So it's for the love of the art and that, but I think you can get paid better as a civil engineer. I think, my understanding. But at least they're related. At least those two are related. Congrats on the sound. Alan Lau knows. Those G.I. Joe parodies are still better than anything else G.I. Joe related in the last 20 years. They were amazing. You got to go read the story about that guy who did it. I think he ended up working for like Adult Swim or something as a writer on certain shows, or he was even writing on the Tim and Eric show, I think, eventually because of those videos. But from my understanding, at least the interview I read, he's kind of low key about it, and not that many people remember that he worked on those. But man, they are so funny, and the way that he did them too was so low tech. Like he was making memes before. I mean, he created memes before we even knew what a meme was. So funny. I'm a computer. I fell into that trap as a kid and put my art skills off for a while for baseball. Did you try? Did you play baseball for school, Timmy Mello? That's great. If you become to art what that guy is to baseball, you'd become buku rich anyways. I don't even know if there's an equivalent to art. what Juan Soto is to baseball as far as worth. I don't even know if anybody is even in the stratosphere of that amount of money in. I mean, that's the kind of money you hear for like soccer players in like Abu Dhabi. Not Major League Baseball. But it's insane. And I don't know how they're going to pay the rest of their staff. They're spending that much money on one guy. One player. I don't know. It sounds pretty insane. That's like ridiculous levels of money. So kind of crazy. Mount Rushmore is like North or South Dakota Rocky. You mean Mount Vernon. That's right. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm horrible with that kind of stuff. It's supposed to be training your brain, giving you knowledge, training your hand. Minimum wage job. Maybe I'd do it for a few years. Have it for the resume. If there's any ladder climbing to be done there, you could. Yeah. Arc of Torture. That's right. Definitely be a Todd McFarlane to draw a comp, or Mark Miller. Not even close. Not even close to $765 million. I don't know. If you have a degree, many jobs care about your degree over the field of study. Yeah, dude, it does. I mean, I feel like these days, like everybody has like a minor in something or a double degree or like a. I can't even imagine going to school now, like you are, Emo Trash. Or a master's. Oof, I don't know. It's a lot. It's like before, it was like, wow, you can get a degree in that. And now it's like, oh, you definitely need a degree in that. And you need a X, Y, and Z in that, too. And it's like, ugh. You need a Google certificate for AI blah 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 blah. How's it coming along? Barry Windsor-Smith's definitely looks cooler than mine, but we're getting there. I do feel like this is still too narrow. Ouch. I'm a computer. So funny. Right, it's better. Might have to change color because I'm kind of overworking this one middle area a little bit. Lindor is like making 300 from 400, 340 million that same team. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Look up people like Damian Hirst, Jeff Koons, Jasper Love, yeah. Buku Rich. Oh, okay. Yeah. But like 760 million. Is that how rich they are? Like, isn't it like isn't Thomas Kincaid another one that like he would draw those like kitschy art things, but he was like crazy rich? I mean, those guys for sure like built a career and then they became rich afterwards. But how old is Juan Soto, Timmy Mello? He's like 20 something, 22, 23 maybe at most. 765. It's crazy. They better win like 5 championships. They're putting that kind of money out for players. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here soon. We're in a good place. So the question is whether or not, will I do another penciling stream or will I just finish this up and hit inks? I think I might just finish this up off stream because I've got like probably like 75% there. And I don't think it'll be that interesting to see me tighten this up totally. Like, I think it'll be more interesting to see how I attack the inks on this. So I might just call this the pencil phase, tighten up what I need to tighten up, add in the extra details off stream, and then start inks for the next one. That would be cool. And I don't know if I'll be able to stream. Just thinking out loud, I don't know if I'll be able to stream later this week. For sure I'll do Wednesday, but then after Wednesday I'm not sure. I might have to push it to the weekend. So probably best that this is the main penciling stream for Barry Windsor-Smith drawing, and then start inks next time I do a master study stream. That's what I'm thinking right now. So funny. Everything just shifted down. All right. Yeah, I'd say about 70-ish% where I need to be. So where are we at, folks? The Mets are still mid. Soto is 26. Goodness gracious. This contract is for 15 years still. By the time he's finished that contract, he'll be 41 and his professional athlete days will be more or less over. That's true. Yeah. I can't imagine what he's going to do with that kind of money. Still crazy. He's one of the best players in the world with an industry with a lot of money. Real battle is going to be the inking. Yep. Definitely. Keep it going. The inks will probably be very... Yep. Rocky's page flipping is very ASMR adjacent. Nice. Yeah, maybe I should move I'll move the mic closer to the page if I do this again and flip. Maybe that'll be a thing. Oh man. You darkened the background. I did? Which background? Oh, Timmy Mello did. Did he? I just finished inking the piece and rescan. It looks much better now, Crown. Oh, I don't see it. Maybe it's a YouTube thing. I don't see it on... Let me look on YouTube. I don't see it on... Oh, I see it on YouTube. I don't see it on Ecamm. It didn't update on Ecamm. But I see it on... Yeah, that's way better, Timmy Mello. That looks great. That looks super good. Pops. Awesome. Cool. Well, there we go. I think I'm going to call it, guys. This is where we're at so far. Barry Windsor-Smith from here to here. Flippity-doo. Not bad. I mean, there's a lot to be figured out with all this. Hair extravaganza. And I'm not going to get that line by line, the hair. But, you know, once I kind of figure out a rhythm for these marks, for sure it'll apply to the rest of it. But not bad, eh? Not bad at all. We're getting close. We're getting close. So that was cool to try that little flippity-doo technique that stole from animation to try and get this in a relatively good spot. And I think I made the decision that I'll finish up the pencils off stream just so we can get to inks, because there will be a lot to figure out, and that'll be the fun part. I haven't inked with a brush in a long time because that Mobius master page was nib inking, and so I haven't inked with a brush in a long time. But I think just looking at Barry Windsor-Smith's final, I think I can do this predominantly with a brush, and then maybe all the like hairs that need a uniform line and like these kind of marks, the hatch marks, I'll probably try those with nib. So it'd be kind of cool to do like a combo between the both. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. But like these big shapes, I'd love to do, and the hair, these like organic shapes, for sure I'd love to do with the brush. I miss inking with the brush. All right, well, there we go. There we are. Master Study, Barry Windsor-Smith. We did it, or we started it for the pencils, and it's coming along really cool. This will be a good one to see done, finished. I mean, I say that all the time, but this one will be really nice to see. So yeah, we'll get to it. I will let you guys know. Probably I'll know by Wednesday whether or not I'll be able to do another Master Study this week. If not, then it'll probably be next week. But Wednesday, I'll still have the planned My Wednesday Comics on Wednesday. That should be happening. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. So thanks for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me see. Just finished. Oh, let me catch up in the chat before we go. I just finished inking the piece, rescanning. It looks much better. Yeah, we said that. Rocky, you'd move the mic closer to the page and probably smack. Yes, I would. That would be a whole nother ASMR. Ciao. Thanks, Random McGranderson, for coming in here. Hope to see you again soon. All 100% drawn and inked. More. Mark's music obsession. Good job, Rocky and Emo. Rocky's cross-hatching is going to be an adventure next stream. It is. Talk about, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. I feel like I'm going to be like tearing some pages here with the cross-hatching. Maybe I'll use the pen. Maybe that'll serve me better. Nah, I want to try the nib. We'll see. That'll be an adventure. Happy anniversary. Cranberry Langer says thank you, and thank you all for being part of that, being part of building up this channel. We're at 442 subscribers. Spread the word. Hit the like. Tell your friends. We're having a good time here. We hit a year mark, and we are on our way to 500. I hope soon. Let's keep that goal of 500 at the end of December in the horizon. Just want to be realistic about it, but it's always good to set goals like that. And if not, we'll hit it soon, because we're coming up on the 450 mark like you wouldn't believe. And then it's just straight shooting from there. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. All right, everybody, I will talk to you soon. Make sure I didn't miss anything else. Watch the little bird chase my dad up the stairs. Sorry, Maggie. Thanks, all of the cool kids. Wouldn't be ASMR without an audio assault. I'd rather go with the pen over the nibs, yes. But would that be too easy, Timmy Mello? Is that wimping out without these? The nib is powerful. It's a powerful tool. We'll see. I might do a couple lines and then be like, nope, we're going pen. All right. Take care, everybody. I will see you later. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you on Wednesday. Take care.